What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be talking about Dragunov. This is a character that I've played quite a bit. I actually think this season he's my most played character in ranked. I'm not very good with him, but he is my most played character, so I feel like I can speak a little bit more in-depthly about Dragunov compared to some of the other characters. So let's just let's get into it. First up, let's talk about game plan. Dragunov's game plan kind of operates around three different axes. First, he has very good movement, so great backdash. He has a very good sidestep. I believe he has the best male sidestep, so while he isn't going to be able to step as good as Lily, Alyssa, or Zafina is, there are a couple of situations where he can step where other male characters aren't going to be able to, so that's very, very good. Cool. Beyond that, he has very strong whiff punishment. So because he has, really crazy movement, there are a lot of times where Dragunov is gonna, Korean backdash away and then QCF 1 or sneak 1, which is a normal hit launching high that's safe on block. And then if he needs to hit you from further away, he has QCF 2. So if you do a move with like really long recovery, so like Anna's 4-4-2, Dragunov can like dash QCF 2 and launch it, which is huge. Not a lot of characters can actually launch that. He doesn't have like super crazy frames on his whiff punishment, but Dragunov isn't really a character that's like blocking Jun's laser from back here and then launching it. But he is a character who, if you are whiffing a long recovery move, you can best believe it's getting blown. On top of that, he also has like his forward 1+2. This guarantees down back 3, or it guarantees a hatchet kick. So, yeah, very, very strong whiff punishment. And on top of that, this guy is a pressure monster. Dragunov wants to lock you down under some pretty crazy frames, and that's kind of his whole thing. So, note the frames. Even stuff like his down 1 is +1 on block. Hatchet kick is +3. +7 into mix-up. Yeah, those are some pretty good frames. On top of that, you blocked the heat smash. It's pretty good frames. Yeah, this character is a pressure monster. And that does even get into his new wall combo, where you have to deal with this. And then in heat, he runs a pigeon roll mix-up, where he either does this mid that resplats you, assuming he rolls in the same direction as you. He does the low, which is it's a hell sweep. It's 18 frames, unreactable. He does 41 damage. Or he can do a grab. This grab is a 3-way mix-up. You can break the initial grab with 1+2, but if he's in heat, that grab is unbreakable. Very, very hard to maneuver that situation. We are going to talk about it later, but yeah, pressure monster. And yeah, that's pretty much the three things that Dragunov really wants to do. He also has a full throw game, which is cool. So he has a dedicated 2 throw, dedicated 1 throw, 1+2, and he has a bunch of throws that happen at the end of strings, a lot of stuff like that. He has his tackle. Great pressure. A good Dragunov will really stress your defense. We already talked about it a bit with his pressure game, but I want to expand on it a little bit here in the first pro. Dragunov's pressure is pretty absurd. Wall running 2 has great range, and it has decent tracking if you can do instant wall runnings. The blue sparks are instant wall runnings. That's how you know if you're doing it right. But if you can do this pretty reliably, this is just free pressure that you can kind of do whenever you want. It's -4, so it's +4 for you. So a lot of times they just kind of have to block. Really, really good. We already talked about back 1+2. This is +6. There's a lot of stuff that you just have to hold at +6. He has QCF 4. This gives him a full crouch mix-up after this. You can step here, but +7 is really good frames, especially if you're back to the wall. Like, what do you do from back here, right? And if you don't know the counterplay to this, like, this is just ultra toxic. So, yeah, really, really great stuff there. Back 1+2, QCF 4. Hatchet kick is really good, good pressure. And on knockdown, it gives another one, or it gives him a stomp for a little bit more damage. So yeah, this guy's pressure is really, really good. On top of that, this character also just has good pressure tools. His down forward 1 is -2, and it technically has a follow-up. This can go into Pigeon roll, and it has a follow-up here. So like, you kind of are incentivized to just block after the down forward 1, which makes this a little bit difficult to contest. You can contest it, but it's a little bit harder to contest than you would expect. On top of that, he gets this on counter hit. And if you mash, because you know you're expecting him to just do a bunch of this, you get counter hit launched, right? So yeah, his pressure is very, very good. His jabs are great too. 1-2-1, insane pressure tool. If he thinks you're gonna contest frames with like, if he does a down forward 1, he thinks you're gonna respond to the down forward 1. That's guaranteed, right? Really, really, really good pressure. To top it all off, down 2 is arguably one of the best lows in the game. This high crushes, he is basically homing, has great range, and while it is -1, Dragunov can step here. So depending on the character that you're actually playing, you know, you're incentivized to do like a while standing 4 or something, right? A lot of the anti-Dragunov's guides will say, oh, just rip a while standing 4. The issue is that depending on your character, that's not actually that good. I don't know which way you're supposed to step a Jin here, but I'm actually going to put Kazuya on screen because I know which way you're supposed to step him to evade his wall standing 4. Let me show you what happens if you just try to wall standing 4 here. Alright, so now I have Kazuya set to wall standing 4. Yeah, you just took 88 damage because you tried to take your frames back and because it's technically -1. And most characters, Dragunov is going to be able to know which way he needs to step in order to evade that. So this makes the situation very, very scary in high level play. Because, you know, most people, if they know anything about Dragunov in blue and low gold, you're just going to see them mash their wall standing 4 every single time. If you know which way to step their wall standing 4, Dragunov always gets a launch here. So it's a very, very scary to try to contest here. Down 2 is more of a pressure tool, where Dragunov is trying to get you to duck. And that's like the big purpose of it, because his mids are so strong, right? You have mids like this. Ducking becomes very, very scary against this character. So that's the whole point of down 2, is to make you duck so that you get blown up by all of that stuff. Up next, let's talk about his punishment. Dragunov's standing punishment is okay, and his crouching punishment is very good. Mainly because of wall standing 1+2 being a heat engager and heat dash launcher. That is heavily carrying his punishment, but that doesn't mean his punishment isn't bad. So, standing, we have 2-1. This is 20 damage plus 10 into sneak. This is a really bad situation for you to be in because you have to hold a sneak mix up. Everything is uninterruptible. You can armor this, which is a very common option because that is +7. So, you know, Jin will get 31 damage here, which means that he basically comes out on top in this scenario. But the issue is, you take 60 damage, you get launched. Yeah, so you just got launched for 108 damage because you tried to power crush the QCF 4. So probably don't do that. And then 53 damage he heat engage, right? So it's a very bad situation to be in. It is a very, very good 10 frame to punish, especially because just 24 chip damage, that does 4 chip into +7 off of the 10 frame. That's really good, especially if your back's against the wall, because you severely limit your movement options. On 12 frames, we have 4-1. This does not wall splat, but it's +8. Does pretty good damage, so can't really complain about that. Because of the way that +8 works, you can't step after +8. So Dragunov's weak side is his right, so we'll do this move, which is notoriously linear. You can't step it. Dragunov will turn to face you. Very, very good. Mostly because of the frames. It not wall splatting is rough, but it's good stuff. Also have back 4-3 on 12, or on 14 rather. Super, super good. This heat engages. 48 damage. Great stuff. And on 15 we have standard unsafe down forward 2. It is -12, but it can launch crouch. So great stuff. In crouch we have while standing 4. This is +6 and it hits grounded. So you'll see it used sometimes as a wall combo where Dragunov will do like this. Gives him +6 on a wake up. You have to tech roll out. Gives you a not amazing scenario. So you will see that sometimes. Beyond that, on 12, your only real punish is while standing 1+2. You can do while standing 1-3 or while standing 1-2. While standing 1-3 is good for wall splatting. This is great for pressure. Most of the time, you're just going to want to take the heat engage, but you do have 3 options on 12 frames. You have nothing on 13 and 14, and on 15, standard while standing 2 launcher. Cool. His crouching punishment is carried by this being a heat dash roll launcher. That does a lot for his punishment. It makes his punishment very, very good because it means that you just can't use lows against him while he's in heat, or becomes very scary to do so. But that is his punishment. We briefly mentioned this in the last section, but the next pro we're going to talk about is his full crouch game. Dragunov's full crouch game is very strong. He has a very strong mix from full crouch. So you'll see, like, he's one of the characters who benefited probably the second most from being able to enter crouch after heat. Like, if it's a round-ending heat engager, you'll see stuff like this, where we're just going to instantly run a +5 on block, launching 50-50. That's something that he can do. Yeah, so that is very good, but he also just has a pretty good utility for full crouch. So this is a mid-high, it's a while standing 1-1-2, and it gives him like really good frames. So you're incentivized to duck that, but if you duck that, that happens. So, you know, that's pretty good. But the biggest reason full crouch makes it so strong is because of full crouch down forward 1-1. This is 22 damage +7 into sleep, which is absolutely insane. You can step the QCF4 on hit here, which is like more pressure. The issue, you can also step the QCF1 because that's a little linear. The issue is that like the rest of this hits you. So that's just an incredibly powerful, it's such a good low. And again, Dragunov isn't a character you really want to duck because he has such insanely powerful mids. So when you have a low like this, you really want to duck it because the situation afterwards is so horrible. So Dragunov can just run in your face, launch, because this is so scary, right? But again, his mids are so powerful. So having a strong low for full crouch really makes defending against his character challenging. Up next, we're going to talk about Dragunov's counter-hit suite. He has a very, very robust counter-hit suite. He's not really a counter-hit character, at least not the way that like Brian is, where everything's a counter-hit launch. Where Dragunov really shines is that he has a lot of strings to stress your defense, and if you're not ready for it, you just get blown up every single time. So we already know his down forward 1 is -2 on block. That's super good. He can delay this 4, and if he delays it enough, you won't duck it. And guess what? Counter hit launch. Super, super frustrating. He has back 4-2. So the back 4 to 2-1, you can duck this third hit, and you can get a launch here. And then because of the back 4-3, the back 4-2 is usually just like a good button for Dragunov to stress your defense with. But one thing that's really good here is that, 1, this is all guaranteed on counter hit, which is +5. 2, that's guaranteed. if the last hit counter hits. Again, really strong counter hit utility. Down 2, if this counter hits, plus 13. You have to sit there and block. Most Dragunovs are going to do this, but because that's so good, he can just do this. And that's not amazing. Really, really strong stuff. Besides that, we also have Hatchet Kick. Now, Dragunov's Hatchet Kick has very poor range. Like, exceptionally poor range. You would be surprised at the ranges that this will whip at. Like, look at where I am, and this is whipping, right? On counter hit. Yeah, it's pretty good. 47 damage counter hit is nothing to joke around about. And yeah, oh, also the down forward wall on 4. This whole thing is guaranteed on normal, which is really good for the wall spots. So, yeah, really, really, really good stuff. Yeah, this character has a very, very strong counter hit suite. Makes it very difficult to challenge this character. Oh, and on top of that, we talked about the wall running too. This is a really good pressure hit tool. This is a counter hit launcher. Not only is it a counter hit launcher, it's a 95 damage counter hit launcher, which is absurd given that I didn't use any resources for that. So yeah, and then again, this is one of the best like 10 frame counter hit tools in the game because it wall splats. So Dragunov is like pressuring you here, where you know he has a bunch of this, and then okay. Either take 84 damage or take a Pigeon roll and mix it. Super, super insanely powerful. To no one's surprise, we still have more pros. Up next, we're going to talk about Dragunov's damage. This is a character who has a lot of just free damage, where if you don't block something a certain way, or if you get launched, just the amount of damage you're taking is quite frankly absurd. So, you know, he has this pressure mid that is extremely plus, and he really, you know, very, very good for generating pressure. You didn't block it, it's 50 damage. It's pretty good. Yeah, it's not bad. He has moves like his down 1. This guarantees a hatchet kick here. Pretty good if he gets it on counter hit. This is a little bit more of like his counter hit sweet stuff, but just this is good stuff. This is a lot of damage that he just gets kind of for free. And then obviously, you know, we already talked about what happens if he hits, you know, a counter hit while running too. You know, that's 95 damage. He has just really good moves. Like this. This is a launcher. It's very evasive. It's very hard to punish. If you're not ready for it, you're not going to be able to punish it. This move is a decently high damage launcher. I keep dropping this because I'm bad. That's a 78 damage launcher on a basically unpunishable, like you're not getting a real punish. Unpunishable high launcher. That's really, really good. Like, insanely powerful. And yeah, it's good stuff. It's very, very, very good stuff. And then if he wall splats you, this wall throw is going to do 1 million damage. 72. And that's not with the blue spark. I think with the blue spark it's 78. Yeah, 76. With no resources. That's really, really good. And then if we go to a stage where like you actually have walls, the damage gets pretty disgusting very, very quickly. Yeah, 99 damage off of his lower damage of the like whip punishing wall launchers. it's good stuff. This is not a character that you really want to be getting launched by on regular size stages. And let's not even talk about like wall running too, right? Yeah, it's pretty good. Obviously, that requires them to, you know, not duck there, or requires them to duck and get respawn there, but it's not a good situation to be in. Next, we're just going to quickly talk about his throw game. This is, fortunately, the last strength. He has a full throw game. So, 2 break, 1 break, 1+2 break. All of that is obviously good stuff. But beyond that, he has a bunch of like stance throws, right? He has this snake edge. He can cancel this into a throw. He has forward, 1-2, or forward, 2-1, 1+2. This cancels into a throw. That's a 1+2 break. He has tackle. That's a 1+2 break. If you don't break the initial throw, it's a 3-way mix-up. When he's in heat, this is unbreakable. You can't tech that throw. Yeah, it's good stuff. He also has like this. This is a throw as well. You have to duck it. This is very slow, so you should be ducking this on the reaction, but it's good stuff. Also, at least when it comes to the tackle, it is worth mentioning like what his options are here. So the 1+2 is the highest damage option by a lot. It's 45. So that's really good. And then he has the 1 option, which this burns gray health. So if you have a lot of gray health, I would really consider breaking 1 here. If you don't, then breaking the 1+2 is very good. But the Dragunov player also has a 2 option. And the 2 option is just the midpoint, where it doesn't have any utility, but it does, you know, it splits the difference in the damage, which just means that if Dragunov thinks that you're gonna try to break, you know, the 2 better options, you can just press 2 every single time. And like, what are you supposed to do about it? Finally, we're going to get into some weaknesses. Dragunov has very committal lows. If you're a character like Kazuya or Eddie, this is not a fun time for Dragunov. And that's because every single one of his lows is at least a -13. Literally all of them. -13, that's one of his best lows. -31, -26, -13, -15, -16. You don't really see any other lows besides those. I mean, you're never going to see this, obviously. But yeah, they're all at least -13, which Eddie and Kazuya can launch. On top of that, you know, he has this. This is a, you know, it's a low-high string, except the mix-up is another high. So there is no mix-up here. Like, you just duck, and then you get a launch every single time. Although I believe this will blow up instant buttons, so I guess be careful of that. But yeah, very, very committal lows. The only other con we're going to talk about is Dragunov's tracking. This is not a character that I would say has poor tracking, largely because he has ways to make up for it. So, you know, he has this high homing move, he has this high homing move, he has this low homing move, he has this low homing move. All of that is pretty good. Notably, those are all highs and lows, so you can duck. He does have this homing move as well, so, you know, cool. But, yeah, because of those moves and because of how Dragunov players usually use those moves, it's hard to say that, like, stepping is really, really good. With that being said, his tracking when he's not using those moves is pretty rough. So, he's going to get pretty good frames here, and, like, he's going to get frames off of wall running too, obviously. Well, we'll talk about the +6 as the best scenario. Off of +6, both of his jabs are going to hit, which is pretty rough. His back 4-3 is going to hit, which is really... That is good, because back 4-3 in general has really bad tracking, so if he thinks you're going to step, he gets a engage for it. And his down 4-1, which is very, very good. So those moves are all hitting. That is worth keeping in mind. However, all of his, I think literally every other non-homing move is basically whiffing. A second one is whiffing. A wall running 2 is whiffing. Forward 3 1+2 is whiffing. QCF 1 whiffs. Slide whiffs. QCF 4 does hit sometimes. You need to delay it though. Instant QCF 4 whiffs. QCF 2 whiffs unless you delay it a lot. Like, a lot. I actually don't think you can make this hit here. So, yeah, that also whiffs. Shoulder hits as well. I believe it hits. Oh, no, it's actually whiffs. That's crazy. Because that hits on worse frames. So, yeah, I mean, that just goes to show how poor his tracking is if he's not going to commit to a home. So, yeah, not the best. I guess his down 4 hits, but like this low sucks. So cool. Not the best. His down 1 also whiffs, and this is like a decent counter. It's rough. It's not the best for Mr. Dragon. Next, let's talk about some of the tracking from his while crouching or his while standing, and that matters because of QCF 4. This is +7 and forces Dragunov in crouch. So here, 2 whiffs, 4 whiffs, 3 whiffs, 1-2 will hit. You can fuzzy duck this because 1-4 is a little bit slower. So you can fuzzy that. But yeah, the 1-4 whiffs. So I believe the only thing here that hits is shoulder and 1-2. So crouching there is pretty good. Now, if Dragunov wants to alleviate this, he can do 4-4-3. Or he can do crouch cancel back 3. Crouch cancel back 3 is pretty significantly faster. When I play Dragunov, this is what I do after this scenario. And this hits like 80% of the time. Like, it's really, really powerful how strong that loop is. So if you play your Dragunov, use that. It's really good. But yeah, in general, if he's not going to commit to a homing move, his tracking is pretty rough. Oh, this will hit, but this has range issues. So like if you do this from max range, this just whiffs, and then he gets launched if you're ready for it. There is actually one more con that I forgot to talk about. Dragunov's doesn't have a great way to get out of pressure. He has his 1-2-1, which is the counter hit tool. And if you force him crouch, he has wall standing 1-1+2. That's basically it. And as you can see, these are both -14. Yeah. This isn't great. It means that if you're playing like frame tight against Dragunov, and Dragunov's constantly trying to take his turn back, even with stuff like his backswing blow, which is not good. This is probably the worst backswing blow in the entire game. 1 is -15 on block, and it has no range. Like, he moves forward like 1 pixel. So his panic buttons in general are just not very good. Now, down 2 is evasive. This sucks on under highs, so that's good, but he doesn't have great ways of like really getting himself out of pressure outside of the normal armor that, you know, every character has. With all that out of the way, now let's talk about his stances. This is a character who, in terms of the way you deal with his stances, it's pretty straightforward. So we're going to talk about sneak first. I'm not really going to talk about the frames here because the rule that you're going to follow is if you get hit, you take a guess, and if you block, you just sidestep. That's pretty much how you're going to deal with sneak every single time. So we're not really going to talk about the frames. I will show you the transitions. So we have full crouch, down forward, 1-1-4. We have 2-1 down forward. We have while standing 1 down forward. We have back 4-2 down forward. We have 3-1 down forward, and forward 3 down forward. Cool. For his options, we have sneak 1. This is a high normal hit launcher that is -8 on block. It's a good whiff punisher. For sneak 2, we have an 18 frame normal hit launch in mid. This is -14 on block. For 3, we have slide. This is either minus 16 or minus 15, depending on the frame it hits on. So be aware of that. If you have a 16 frame while standing launcher, just be careful about ripping it. On 4, we have a 19 frame mid that heat engages. It's plus 7 on block, leaves Dragunov in crouch. And 3 plus 4 is an armored mid that is minus 13 on block and 27 on the normal. Cool. It doesn't wall swap. Now the counterplay here, we are, sneak peek earlier, is exceedingly simple. This is the best move that he will get on block, which is 0. That is every single option getting beat by sidewalk right on his best frames on block. On hit, you have to guess. So basically it. If he does this, you have to guess on hit. This won't transition on block. So yeah, that's basically it. Very, very simple. If you do block this in particular, while standing 1 and QCF4, or QCF1 and QCF4 will still miss, which is really nice. But in general, you have to take a guess if you get hit. But if you block, sidewalk right, you get out and you launch him every single time. The only other thing worth talking about is Pigeon roll. So this is a weird one where sometimes Dragunov will use it in the neutral. If he uses it in the neutral, you just get to launch him. It's not good. So if he just does this, you can on reaction press a launcher. Because he has a 16 frame move that comes out of it, an 18 frame move, and a slow grab. That's 26 frames. If he pigeon rolls in the neutral, literally just wall launch it. That's basically it. Like, there's nothing else to say. There is actually really cool counterplay you can do at the wall, but first let's just go over the options. Because we will show why this is good. So typically what Dragunovs will do is they'll wall splat you, then they'll do this, and they'll do a pigeon roll. The 2 will resplat you, so you really don't want to duck the 2. Like, you super don't want to duck the 2. The issue is that this low does 41 damage, which is very good. So, okay, ducking is pretty scary because if you get wall splat, he gets to reset the scenario up. So, ducking's scary. The low is 41, so like it's a lot of damage. You kind of want to duck there. On top of that, he also gets access to his tackle, which we already talked about earlier. It's a 3-way grab, and it's unbreakable in heat. So typically the scenario we're going to see is he's going to heat engage, he's going to wall throw, and then he does this, then he runs the mix. The unbreakable throw is really, really annoying, so, that is really scary. But if you suspect he's not going to use the mid, because the mid is just going to pancake flip you if you stay on the ground. So let me get Jin to not wake up. So if you stay on the ground, this is just going to keep flipping you over. So if you suspect he's going to do that, you have to get up and take a guess. If you have a hard read that he's not going to do that, you have a very cool option. So now I'm here with John to show you the tech that you can do. If you have a hard read that he's not going to use the mid, so you think he's going to use the low or the grab, what you can do is you lay on the ground, and then when the low comes out, you can tap up and let go and tap 3, and John will instantly from grounded do her while standing 3. This works for any character that has a launching while standing 3 specifically. So this is Jun, Asuka, Lily, and Bakaram that I know off the top of my head. I don't know any of the other ones who do, but if you have, most characters have a while standing 3, so you can do that. It's usually better than their while standing 4. Cool. Or it's usually more damage anyways. So yeah, you can always do it. You can only use a while standing 3 or 4 specifically. You can't use any of your punches. The timing you want to do is once you see the homing trail come out, you want to tap up and tap 3. So this is what it's going to look like in real time. So there I did a while standing forward because I forgot and pressed the wrong button. This is what's going to look like a while standing forward. And there, you get a full launch. So you don't have to hold the low versus grab mix up. And this also works if he does the grab. So let me just re-record this, or, you know, reset up the recording and show you what it looks like with the grab. Okay, here it is with the grab. Yeah, so you launch both options every single time. Really, really cool stuff. Finally, we're going to go over some strings. Dragunov's string game isn't very good in my opinion, but because he does have some cool counter hit utility here, it is worth keeping in mind what his options are. So we have down forward wall on 4. We talked about this briefly. This is just his down forward 1 is -2. Cool. And he has a very delayable high counter hit launcher. Because of this, his down forward 1 gets a lot of mental frames where you kind of want to look to duck here because he might do the high. So try to pay attention to your Dragunov opponent's tendencies. If he's ripping the high, if you see it literally once, you basically don't really want to contest his down forward 2. Personally, I would try to contest it early, but as soon as you see it, be like, okay, he's actually finishing the string, I'm going to blow this up. Next string we're going to talk about is his back 4 series. So back 4-3 is the heat engager, which is very, very fast. It's very hard to duck on reactions. Once you get used to the animation, it's not that bad, but very, very fast. Notably, on block, this isn't like that amazing. Yeah, it's -9 on block, so he does give up his turn if you end up blocking it, so cool. If you don't duck, he has his back 4-2, which has extensions. So he has a back 4-2 going to sneak at -6. We already know what to do here. You could actually just rip a launcher on -6 and I'll just blow him up because his fastest option is 12 frames. So you can just rip, you know, a down 4-2 here and he's just dead. Beyond that, he has a back 4-2-1. The 1 is very delayable and it's +1 on block. So a lot of Dragunovs will like finish it, then kind of give up their turn, finish it, kind of give up their turn, finish it, kind of give up their turn, and then a 1-2-1 your counter hit. That's something that you'll see a lot. Always look to duck this. Unless you see a lot of this transition, always look to duck this. You can also do this grab. This grab is 40 frames, has a really obvious startup. You can just hop kick this on reaction. However, if you don't hop kick on reaction, 1+2 break gets you out of it every single time. Next, we have 1-2-1. This is counter hit. This is a really hard to counter hit confirm, but you can counter hit confirm it. The last hit isn't delayable, so if Dragunov is like really locked in, you can confirm this on reaction. However, because it's so hard to do, it's -14 on block. Just if you block it, make sure you get a big punish for it. Up next is back 2-1-3 and down back 3. These moves have the same ender, which is why we're talking about, or these strings rather. They have the same ender, that's why we're talking about them. Back 2-1 is pretty fast. This is kind of hard to duck. You're not really going to see this that much in higher ranks. You do see it a lot lower ranks. You can also just stop at back 2 for a -3 into full crouch. So like that's usually a wall combo if he has a lot of hits, where he'll do like down 4-1, back 2, this. You know, you'll see that occasionally. The other thing to keep in mind is that this has a snake edge follow-up, which is a 3. Not only does it have a snake edge follow-up, which is very reactable, you can cancel this into a throw. Cool. His actual snake edge can also be canceled into a throw. Cool. If you see these strings, you want to try to hop kick this on reaction. That way you're not holding a mix-up. That's the best that I can tell you here, is just use a jumping move here on reaction. Because trying to guess that is really annoying. It's a really volatile playstyle that a lot of lower level Dragunovs use, but it's super annoying. You just want to hop kick it on reaction every single time. Up next, we're going to talk about Dragunov's 1-3-2 string and his 4-4-2 1+2 string. The reason why we're talking about them both is, again, they have the same feint as the ender. Now his 1-3-2, you're mostly going to see this as a back turn punish, where if he gets all the way behind you, then you have to deal with this. That ender is really hard to get, but cool. Normally they're just gonna pop heat and do a different ender, but that's usually gonna be his back punish. If you see it forward facing, the last hit is minus 13, or what you can look at is he actually has a feint here. That is a homing throw, so you can't step it. It is also 30 frames, so you can duck it on reaction. If you don't duck it, it is a 1+2. He also has 4-4-2, 1+2. He feints this hit into the same throw. Again, you can duck it on the reaction or break it with 1+2. Notably, you cannot break that throw in heat. That's pretty much it. You're not really going to see Dragunovs use a lot more strings, so that's it for Dragunov. This is a intensely powerful character. He does have clear and obvious weaknesses, but his strengths are so overwhelming that it is pretty difficult to actually defend against his character. He's kind of like the antithesis of a character like Law or like Jin, where their kits just do everything and they're pretty much perfect characters. Dragunov is a very imperfect character, but the things he does well, he does so well that you really need an out to the things that he is good at. And if you can't get out of his pressure, it's gonna feel like this character is just completely broken. But yeah, that is going to be it for this video. I think I'm gonna talk about either Nina or Law next. I'm not 100% sure, but you know, it'll be out in a couple of days, so I will see you guys then. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.